Last year in the UK there were over 41,000 incidents involving a knife or a sharp object, and over 400 fatalities. We are not even 8 weeks into the new year and already, knife crime is taking lives. On the 1st of January 2022, Darius Wallace would become the UK's first fatal stabbing of the year. A husband and a father left his home around midnight to nip to his local shop on the High Street in Euston, West Drayton, London, for a packet of cigarettes. It is believed he had gotten into a verbal altercation with a group of males in Tavistock Road on his way home from the High Street. Darius would go on to be assaulted outside the retailers. Police and emergency services arrived at the scene at 12:12 a.m. Darius Wallace would go on to be pronounced dead at 12:43 a.m. A post-mortem revealed he had died from stab wounds to the chest and groin. A 13-year-old boy and a 27-year-old man were arrested in connection with the slaying. The boy was bailed to a date in February. The 27-year-old man, Harley D. Thompson, was charged with murder and possession of an offensive weapon. He appeared at Wimbledon Magistrates Court on the 10th of January 2022. Although I can't find any details from the hearing, I suspect he will appear at Crown Court at a later date. Darius leaves behind a wife and a daughter, who are said to be distraught over the senseless killing. His daughter posted on social media, "I want everybody to remember him as a lovely and warm person even if he was a stranger to you. Love you, Dad, so much." On the 22nd of January 2022, Kenny Carter would sadly lose his life in one of the first 10 stabbings to occur in the UK this year. It would also be the first in a spate of stabbings in the Greater Manchester area. It is not clear at this time what motivated the attack, but police believe it was swift and deliberate. At around 7 p.m. on that fateful night on Thirlmere Road, emergency services arrived to find Kenny fighting for his life. He had been brutally stabbed in the chest. He was rushed to hospital, but a short time later he died from his injuries. Within the first few days, at least 8 arrests were made, with the suspects aging from 14 to 17. Of them 5 were bailed pending further investigation and the other 3 were released without charge. Kenny's family made an emotional public appeal to help bring her son's killer or killers to justice. This is what they said. "Kenny was our youngest, our baby, our cheeky chappie with baby blue eyes. His death has left a massive hole in our lives and our family has been destroyed. We will never have the opportunity to see him growing up and having a family of his own. Each day when we wake the house feels empty, we can't hear his footsteps, his voice or his music." Another further 3 arrests have been made, including a 13-year-old boy. Again, all 3 have been released on bail pending further investigation. To this day no charges have been brought forward, but police will continue their investigations. On the 24th of January 2022, Yasmin Qiqi, a childminder and a mother to 2 teenage sons, would be brutally stabbed to death at the hands of her ex-husband Leon Qiqi. Yasmin had suffered physical and mental abuse over a period of years at the hands of her ex-husband Leon Qiqi. And even though they were no longer together, she lived in fear for her safety. With Mr. Qiqi only living a short distance from her residence, Yasmin reached out for help via her local constabulary and a stalking prevention order was issued against him. Inevitably Leon Qiqi breached this order and then failed to appear in court. In early January a warrant was put out for his arrest. On the 24th of January Leon Qiqi and Yasmin Qiqi would cross paths on Chippenham Road, Maida Vale, London. At around 9 a.m. Mr. Qiqi would lose control and stab Yasmin repeatedly to death. In a twisted turn of events, you could even call instant karma, a member of the public tried to save Yasmin by ploughing his car straight into Qiqi, killing him at the scene. Although the driver was initially arrested, he was later released without charge. Yasmin is remembered by her 2 sons and her husband. Shortly before 7 p.m. on the 28th of January 2022, Joe Dix would get into an altercation, which would result in him being stabbed multiple times. Norwich Armed Police and Ambulance Service arrived at a housing estate in Vale Green, Norwich, shortly after the attack had occurred. Paramedics did all they could to save Joe, but he would later be pronounced dead at the hospital. 7 people in total have been arrested for the crime. 3 men, a 40, 20 and a 17-year-old, and a woman in her 30s were all bailed pending further investigation. Benjamin Gill, 18, Hans Bihari, 18, and a 17-year-old boy who cannot be named for legal reasons, have all been charged with murder. They appeared at Norwich Magistrates Court on the 12th of February. I haven't been able to find any other details, and I will assume it has been referred to Crown Courts, where they will appear at a later date. Joe Dix is remembered by his family, girlfriend, friends and puppy. Around 7:30 a.m. on the 30th of January 2022, a dog walker would discover the body of an unresponsive teenage boy in Close Park, Salford, Greater Manchester. Emergency services arrived, but unfortunately the boy, who was later named as Alan Selagowski, was pronounced dead at the scene. He died from a single stab of the knife. The circumstances and the motivation for the killing at this time remain unknown. It is reported the park was regularly used like a nightclub in the evenings, with loud music, fights and drugs. Locals have apparently been requesting the park be closed in the evenings out of fear something like this would happen. According to reports, the council stated, it would be too costly to lock the gates in the evenings and then unlock them again in the mornings. Alan Selagowski's family are of course devastated by their loss. A neighbor has set up a GoFundMe page to help the family, who do not speak any English, pay for the costs of burying their son. This would be the 3rd stabbing in Manchester, within a space of weeks, the 2nd fatal. And once again the killer or killers are still at large. 4 people have been arrested in connection with the stabbing, but as far as I know all 4 have been bailed pending further investigation. Alan has been described as a polite, respectful young lad. We can only hope justice is served. Thank you for watching It's Murder's first ever production. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a like if you did. And if you want to hear about more UK knife crime, hit the subscribe button and watch this space.